For the ones that are 50 and over, do you agree that the universe is not a perfect place and there is always a conflict between people? And it always makes it difficult for people to get along because everybody wants everything their way. And unless you are somebody who are very humble and very mellow, you can't live and deal with somebody that always constantly trying the boss and trying to dictate and tell you how to live. If this was a perfect world, everybody would get along, we would be in paradise. But the thing is, there is always gonna be disagreements. That's how the world is. So when you were younger, you never noticed about that. You never thought this is how the world is. If you go back in time when you were young and a teenager, when you had your parents, you never seen the world the way you see it today, because back then everybody used to give you candy and treats, used to say how pretty you are, how smart you are, how you're gonna be successful, everybody's gonna like you, everything is gonna be perfect. But then this fairy tale story, as you grow older and you learn, and the world teaches you that this is not the world we live in, and you have to adjust and adapt to it, because there's always people find something. If you try to, let's say, be in business, or you have co-workers, or you have roommates, or you living with landlords, and it's always a disagreement. People always find something to have, their point of view, their perspective, which they think is the right one, and try to convince you it's supposed to be this way, not that way, your way is wrong. And it's always conflict and arguments, and people find always something to argue about and tell you this is how it's supposed to be, even though they're not a genius. They didn't who made them have more knowledge, unless they have the education, the higher education. But it's always the basic things, that you're trying to get along with somebody or try to make business, as far as like an employee for a company, you have to do what they tell you, otherwise they let you go. Or if you're living with the landlord, you have to follow the rules, otherwise it's not a suitable place. Or if you are starting your business and you want to start with a partner, and the partner has disagreement and he tells you this is how he wants things done, so there is always conflict in the world, especially when it comes to countries. And some countries, they're neutral, but a lot of them, they always have these wars going on. That's just one example from the politics side. But other than that, there is always disagreements between two people, and there's always this mediation that comes in the way to mediate and things, especially couples, when now divorce is becoming like normal. So yeah, there's always gonna be a conflict in this world. If you were taught when you were younger everything is gonna be perfect, it's a fairy tale, you're gonna meet your match and your soulmate is gonna come along and save you, and you're gonna live happily ever after, and later you find out everybody's looking, if it benefits them. Sometimes if you're looking for a soulmate, for example, it's always let's say the guy is looking for somebody, let's say at their level, or something specific, like they have to contribute. You can't, it's not like the old days when the woman stays home and the man goes to work. So nowadays, if you are in that mentality, that's how now more women are single, because they've been taught that you get married and the husband take care of the household, and now to come to find out that that doesn't exist no more. So yeah, things like that. And the world has changed, and if you're still living in the past, the way you were taught when you were younger, and that world don't even exist no more. So as it is. Now we're trying to adjust to technology and trying to, keep up with it, which is really hard for people who are not, technology savvy anyway. But yeah, I wanted to share this with you. There's always going to be conflict and disagreement in the world, and if you don't agree with that, you're going to have a lot of issues and be miserable. You're always going to expect for something to, in the long run, to happen and have a bump on the road and have a conflict with somebody. um, and then you can compromise, work it out. If you can't work it out, then you're gonna have a fall through, and the relationship is gonna get cut off, and it's gonna end somewhere. So I wanted to share this with you. Hopefully this information was helpful to you as well. And if you're a Gen Xer, or if you're a senior, over 60, over 50, you know what I'm talking about, because the world before we used to live in 30 years ago is so much different than now. And there's things that used to be different. Now it's totally gone, and it's a different lifestyle, and you have to adjust to it and keep up with it as much as you can. Do your best. Okay, well, this is what I have for you today. Please put a like and subscribe to my channel, and I see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.